We should go over what Monte McNair said right after his firing. Said Vivek Ranadive made him sign DeMar DeRozan, made him fire Mike Brown, and made him trade De'Aaron Fox for Zach LaVine. So he, was doing what the owner was telling him to do. He didn't want to do it, but he had to do it. So how do we feel about that?
I don't like it at all.
Yeah.
You look at teams around the league, and you don't really see a lot of owners that are like just putting their fingers in everything with the team.
The owners. Yeah.
But it's leave it to the GM. Monty.
Exactly.
I mean, he had a great track record before Vivek started to mess with everything. And I feel like everybody was hating on me when I said Monty was a good man, like a smart man. I know he was making good moves, and then immediately Vivek just came in and started changing everything up, and everybody blamed Monty at that point.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, just I'm getting tired of Vivek right now. I know he's never going to sell. That's not how it's going to work for us. But hopefully it changes with Scott Perry coming in.
Yeah, it kind of feels like we're going back to the time around where they, traded Cousins right before they got Fox and kind of blew it all up.
It makes you think do people want to come here to Sacramento? Like, it's just Vivek is starting to tarnish the image of coming here and trying to turn around this organization right now. So it's a, like he said, it's a tough time here in Sacramento.
I don't know who would want to come to Sacramento right now.
The big signing that you guys have had was DeRozan.
Yeah,
that's it.
Now
it's
really just you have to trade all of them.
Yeah.
You have to trade Sabonis, LaVine, DeRozan. There's really no pathway to contend or even rebuild to keeping them.
You don't think we can keep Sabonis?
I don't think Sabonis can be a key piece on a title contending team.
Okay.
It's not crazy to say that.
Unless he has a center who can shoot threes and block shots.
Yeah.
He had one.
He had one in Miles Turner.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But I love Sabonis, man. He's my favorite big man in the whole league. But he is known as a floor riser and not a ceiling riser.
Yeah.
Floor riser means we can get to the play-in every year. We can be around that 8 to 10 range. But as him as our best or second best guy, we're never going to be a real title contender.
Yeah.
And it's just he's never been a playoff riser either. He hasn't really been there that much, but. The times that he hasn't been a playoff riser. He's a great regular season player, though. He comes to play every night in the regular season, leads the league in double-doubles every year. So that means something, but, you need guys that are going to come to play when it matters most.
Yeah.
And I don't think he, doesn't play hard in the playoffs or the play-in games. It's just his game doesn't translate to those, high-leverage games.
And he excels at what he excels at. But it's a very minimal amount of what he excels at. Mm-hmm. But he does it so well that he's seen as a star.
Yeah.
But the things that he, in the playoffs at least, it really exposes what he doesn't. His lack of shooting, some of his, defensive miscues, things like that.
Yeah.
Which is why you need another big to move him back to the 4 who can kind of cover that ground.
I don't even know what to do with him because moving him to the 4, who's he going to guard at the 4? The Clippers are playing Kawhi at the 4 most of their games. You can't have him guarding the 4s.
You need a big that's mobile.
Yeah.
That's why I think, personally, my ideal spot for him would be the Grizzlies.
Damn.
Because next
Him
to
and
Jaren
Jaren?
Jackson, that's a pretty good. Jaren can't rebound.
Can't rebound. Sabonis rebound.
Sabonis can.
Yeah.
Sabonis can't shoot.
They
Jaren
make
can
up
shoot.
for each other's flaws. You
Exactly.
are right. Would we take Zach Edey for Duas?
No.
I'm kidding. They better give us more than that. But yeah,
Give me Desmond Bain.
they're not doing that.
Good job, bro.
Oh, hey, I'm down. I'm on board. Get Ja Wait to sack. I'm down. But yeah, let's move on to Scott Perry. His track record in the NBA. 2000 to 2008, he was a Pistons front office executive and won the title in 2004. Put together that defensive-minded Pistons team, and that was, a really big team for the whole NBA. That's just a stamp in the NBA is that Pistons defensive team, and they're the first team to win the championship known as a defensive, team. So that's big. Obviously, he's a defensive guy. And then he went to the Supersonics, assistant general manager, helped draft KD, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden. So, he has an eye for talent. I don't know. Yeah. I wasn't looking at draft stuff back then. We were, 5 years old? But, I don't know if those picks were
7.
I don't know if those picks were so obvious that, you don't give him credit for it. But, he did end up drafting him. So, I'm giving him a little credit there.
I'll take it because the Thunder were one of my favorite teams when it was KD, Russ, and Harden.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to see that little track record right there.
Yeah.
And then also the Knicks, when he's on the Knicks, he helped kind of get them back to playoff contention and everything. So I don't know. I feel like it would I think it's the right move, but it's just so soon to tell. And it sucks just because it went so quick.
It's tough. And we didn't, go and look for another, interview other people or anything like that.
Someone.
Obviously, Vivek already had a plan in mind, so kind of a weird look.
Yeah.
But then he went to the Pistons again, 2008, 2012, then to the Magic in 2012 to 2017, then to the Knicks in 2017 and 2021, and he was with the Kings for a couple months in 2017, helped draft the Aaron Fox. He was high on Justin Jackson and Harry Giles. Neither of those two panned out, but I did think those were good draft picks back in the day. I was hyped when we got those guys.
We can just sign Harry Giles right now.
The projected best player in the class.
Yeah, he was number
and then
one
had
pick in high
injuries.
school. Out of high school, he was number one guy. So
And Justin Jackson hit the crazy shot for North Carolina in that North Carolina
and
Villanova
he
game.
wasn't bad. Justin Jackson was a solid guy, and obviously his main thing was defense. So he's a defensive-minded guy. Justin Jackson has a ring with Milwaukee, right? So that's crazy.
But all of his, talent identifications have been good defenders, and that's the way I kind of hope he builds this team.
Yeah.
From scratch or from wherever, however they do it. But it's been kind of consistent throughout the years, so I'm hoping that that's kind of the mindset going into these next few years or however long he's here.
Yeah, definitely seems like he's a defensive-minded guy, so that gets me excited. The teams that are good these days have the long wings that, can guard multiple positions, centers that can actually protect the rim, and, a point guard on the team.
Yeah.
So, I think Omar said it after the game, we need a point guard.
I think because of his defensive mindedness, it probably means Keon and Carter are staying.
Yeah,
I would
which
assume.
I'm fine with. But everyone else, and Keegan.
Yeah,
Keegan.
but this also means that LaVine and DeRozan are probably the first ones out.
And
that depends on the influence of the ownership.
Well, he was on a podcast too. I forget which one it was, but he was talking about Zach, and if he's a winning player or not. Same thing with DeMar. He didn't say about DeMar specifically, but that's kind of what we've been talking about. So I could see both those guys being gone if there's a way to do it.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, his comments on LaVine, I don't know how long ago they were, but they weren't too long ago. He said, no question Zach LaVine can score the basketball, but does he impact winning? Zach LaVine has been to one playoff series in 9 years. He's played a total of 4 playoff basketball games. And then he said, I'm looking at 49 million for a guy who just doesn't impact winning. So he said that on national TV not long ago.
Look at the other side, though. What teams has LaVine had? He was on Minnesota for half his career and had Cat that was young, Wiggins that was young, and then he got traded to Chicago, who didn't have anything till 2-3 years ago, 2022.
I do think it's unfair.
And they were the best team in the East or second, third best for a month.
2 months,
until
maybe,
Lonzo went down and Caruso went down, and that was it.
Yeah.
So I do think that team, they wouldn't have won anything, but I think they probably could have made the second round if they were healthy.
Yeah, I could see that too. It is a little unfair to, bash Zach like that because of the teams he's been on. That's a good point. Going back early in the year when Zach was in all these trade rumors, I said Denver would be the perfect spot for him. Yeah. And I think right now, just watching that Denver versus Clippers game, Denver got the dub, but Denver would love a guy like Zach LaVine. Be that, third option. Him behind Jamal Murray and Jokic and kind of just hit some spot-up threes and, show his athleticism a little bit. I think that would be a good fit. But being on a team like the Kings is just a horrible fit.
Yeah.
It's just not a good look for Zach.
I kind of thinking about it now, I kind of like the idea of keeping him and sending DeMar away because I think he is a lot better without playing with DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah.
So, but then I'm thinking about the lineups and stuff. Obviously we're gonna keep Keon. Would he still start or would Zach? I don't know. But I wouldn't mind the idea of trying to retool around Zach LaVine and keep Sabonis, maybe not. I'm down to keep Sabonis stuff.
I love Zach. I don't think that's the move.
No.
And especially when you go back and look at the comments that our new GM made about him.
I don't think Zach is going to be here much longer.
That relationship is, not going to go.
It's already a little tarnished.
I know Zach has probably seen these comments too, so he's waiting to, probably get moved this offseason. And, I love Zach LaVine. I think he's a great player, but not what this Kings team needs right now. Same with DeMar. I think it's just time to, move on.
Yeah. And then also, I don't know if you were going to bring up the coaching thing right now, but I don't know. Are we all buying in on Doug Christie?
It's a tough one. It's definitely a tough one. I wouldn't be mad if we kept Doug. Shams came out and said it looks like the Kings are, gearing towards keeping Doug Christie as the head coach. So that's a report that came out. I wouldn't be mad at it, especially if we, trade DeMar, trade Zach, maybe even trade Domas and go young. Doug is good with these young guys. He can get guys motivated, get guys to believe in themselves. And I think that's what you need with a young team. With a team like we had this year, Zach, DeMar, and, some known guys throughout the league, Doug isn't like the right coach for that. They all respect Doug. Yeah. They all said high praises for Doug and all that. But, having a team with guys that have been all-stars, done all this in their careers, Doug isn't the right guy for that. He's someone that's going to motivate young guys. And we saw it in the Summer League a couple years ago. He got those guys to the championship in the Summer League. Yep. Not that means anything, but he motivates young guys.
You also need to give him a chance with the personnel that he would want on his team. You need to give him an offseason to try and build that.
Yeah. So I was going to say Bobby Jackson was in the building the other night.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think he might be joining Christie's coaching staff? If
I could see it. Let's get all those...
comes back from Philly.
I mean, obviously that didn't work out in Philly, so I wouldn't be surprised if he leaves there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that was relating to Doug. That was also something that came out in the article from the Monte comments about. I think it said he didn't want to keep Doug Christie anymore, and so that's why them parting ways is kind of pointing more towards them keeping Doug, because I think it said Vivek was kind of seen as the Christie backer as well. Yeah. I think it said exactly, but.
I know, I mean, I'm not mad if we keep Doug, and also, I don't hate Vivek. I mean, he saved Sacramento. He kept the team in Sacramento. He does need to, take them. And a lot of Kings fans are coming for his head, because he's putting his fingerprints all over this team and what we've done. Monty said he didn't want to make any of these moves.
And I think the general manager role is to help build the team. Obviously, you can have a relationship with the management, like how Jeannie Buss and Rob Pelinka have one, right? But she leaves it up to Rob to do what he does.
Too many cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah. It should just be the GM, and then be like, okay, I'm going to do this move. I'm going to run this by you, and then if they have the they can have the final say in it. But they should trust the GM's judgment, and I think they just didn't trust Monty's judgment.
Yeah, and Vivek just, is demanding him to make these certain moves. That's just, a bad look.
It's a horrible
look. You got to let your basketball minds do the basketball moves. Yep. I know Vivek loves hoop, and, he loves this team in Sacramento, and I love his enthusiasm about it, but, his comments previously, like a long time ago when he first took over, are just scary when you just look at what he said. He said, he'd want to play 4-on-5. This came out when the Kings were horrible, right when we got De'Aaron. That he wanted to, think about having a guy not even play defense and just have him on the other side of the floor. He also came out and said he wanted a full court press all game because he saw his daughter's middle school team do it and it was successful. Are you joking? This is NBA basketball. Vivek needs to take a step back and let the basketball minds do what they know is best. Yeah. Monty wouldn't have made those moves. We were happy when DeMar got signed, but obviously wasn't the right move for the team.
That's what you're paying the GM to do.
And Monty knew it. Yeah.
There's no reason to pay them if you're just going to be like, oh, no, let's do this instead. Yeah. Like, what's the point in that?
Hey, nobody's tried it, so
should we do the 4-on-5? Still up in the air? He also said Nick Stauskas was Steph Curry and Klay Thompson in one player. So, and the guys we picked him over.
Was he wrong?
Hey, for a couple games he wasn't wrong, but I love Nick Stauskas.
He's definitely messed up a few things for us. It's been more than a few, so he needs to take a step fucking back.
He needs to take a step back. Yeah. Love Vivek though, but it's a weird one. We gotta just let basketball minds
make his daughter the GM.
Yeah, she probably will be pretty soon. Don't sleep on that.
Speak that
she probably will.
Right?
Well, we're gonna take a quick break and then we'll go over what the Kings should do next with these trades.
Hell yeah.
What will the team look like next year, though? That's the big question.
The Seattle Super.
We already talked about will Doug stay as the head coach.
You guys are gonna be in Vegas with the A's.
Oh no. Talking about Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan. Do we keep one or do we get rid of both?
I'm down to get rid of both.
Both. Yeah.
I'm honestly
obviously
for both.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Zach one's probably gonna happen for sure.
If we're gonna keep one,
Scott Perry thing.
Yeah.
If we're gonna keep one, I'd keep DeMar.
Damn.
Honestly.
I don't even want to keep DeMar.
Keep DeMar though.
Yeah. DeMar came out and said he hopes to get an offseason with Keegan Murray. Do you know? And he talked very highly about Keegan and all this stuff. And he said he thinks if they get an offseason together, that he can elevate his game. I believe that.
Yeah.
And I believe he could make Keegan better.
I mean, we saw what the 1 year with Fox did for him offensively and defensively. And so, I mean, if it's got to be that. and we'd have to keep him for Keegan to make that leap shit.
Do we want Keegan taking post fades in the mid range all game though?
No.
Learning from DeMar? No,
you're right.
And
just the mindset, though.
And
I think
early in the year, when Keegan was, not scoring over 10 points for multiple games in a row, I came out and said that I love DeMar, but he's hindering Keegan's development.
Yeah.
And, if we keep him longer, even if they have a good offseason together, if Keegan, learn how to take a post fade mid range every once in a while, I don't think that's going to elevate his game that much if we still have DeMar on the team. It's just going to take shots away.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I think he just... My bad. I think he just got to be in a spot next year to where he's like one of the main shot takers.
Yeah.
And that's going to really help his development more than that would.
Need it.
I don't think it would just be like post work though, because you look at DeRozan back on the Raptors, right? He was very good with his first step, getting to the rim, blowing past guys. So I think it would just be more of like the mentorship type of aspect, which Keegan would benefit a ton from.
That's a good point.
DeRozan.
That's a good point.
And then also, Doug never had a chance to make a whole he doesn't have his own coaching staff. He also doesn't have his own playbook. He doesn't have anything. A lot of the time it was just let's just try and get mismatches and you guys do ISO ball.
That's all it was.
And then
from the minute the play-in game started, it was just DeMar and Zach trying to
do it. It looked bad. It was really bad.
Yeah.
It's because, especially after the trade and stuff.
Yeah.
So me personally, honestly, after this loss, I'm okay we lost that night. Not the way we did lose. That shit pissed me off. But the fact that we lost now instead of making it to the playoffs and then getting swept by the Thunder.
And then them running it back again.
And then, so it's just, I don't know, I'd rather lose now and then we just get to it, try and figure stuff out for this team.
Rather than prolong it for another 2 years. Where we keep
we got the whole playoffs to think about what we're going to do.
Yeah.
I feel like a whole lot more would be in the air right now, too. If we were in the playoffs, we make it this far, then it's just all right, do we keep this team together? Do we go this way? Do we go that way?
If we made it,
it's just I feel like it would just fail immediately next year.
Yeah. Probably be even worse. If we did win, against Dallas and then somehow beat Memphis, us three would be up here saying we're going to the finals. We would be up here, talking out of our ass saying that we're going to the finals. We're going to be the Miami Heat. Yeah, where we'd be back in Pot A. But now officially never going to be Pot A again. I'm staying Pot B forever. It's Pot B is saying this team has a ceiling. We need the team that has a ceiling of a championship. I don't care how many years that takes. Give me another 17 years of horrible. If that's going to lead us to a championship, I would be fine with that.
I just want to see
I want to rebuild.
I just want to see us lift that fucking trophy.
Yeah.
Pot A is heartbreak, bro.
Yeah, it really is. You just get your hopes up and then it's going to get broken, of course. Well, so we're on board to trade Zach and DeMar. Do you think that's the right move for the Kings?
I think there's just no team that's going to want DeMar at this point.
I don't know who would want either.
Because he's a guy who needs the ball in his hands. He won't accept a six-man role. And you can't really build an offense around him anymore. So I think if he goes, he would be elite. He would win six-man of the year easily. Yeah. But no, he's not going to do that. He would just be another Lou Will. But he won't accept that because he still thinks he's a superstar.
I was literally saying that all season.
You were saying bring DeMar off the bench all season, and we were like, that's never going to happen. But
I think LaVine, if you can ship him to the only team I'd say that you could possibly get something in return that's of some value is maybe Denver, if that's the scenario.
Yeah.
But I would really try to ship him east.
Zeke Naji and
Christian Brown.
They wouldn't even give us Christian Brown. He's
so
too
you
good.
probably end up with one of
Julian
Strawther. You could probably get Strawther.
Yeah, I'm down.
But you'd probably get MPJ too.
Oh, I'm down. Bring me MPJ,
but
please.
I'd say you'd probably have to throw in something else too.
Yeah.
But
the
big one...
MPJ's a shooter that makes shots.
He's better.
Yeah. And MPJ on a bad team is going to average like 25.
I would be down. I'd be down for an MPJ rebuild.
And then there's the Sabonis situation too.
Yeah.
Fucking if all we're doing is letting Vivek play my GM, why don't they let us play, dog?
Because we don't got the money. A team that I was thinking about that's a really weird destination for either Zach or DeMar or even Domas is Brooklyn.
You could get some good picks from there.
I think they have Jordy Fernandez. I think, they don't have anyone to build around over there. Yeah. They really don't have a main guy. And if they got Zach or Domas, I think Jordy would, benefit from that.
Yeah.
And I think we could get a guy like Cam Thomas and maybe Nick Claxton. And some picks maybe. Probably not the picks because
I think you have to take some type of extra
right now, though. Yeah.
Do they have any expiring guys that are of value?
I mean, Cam Thomas has a big contract.
Right now,
I don't think they want to keep him.
I mean... Yeah, that's true.
He's young, but...
The only thing that scares me, though, is if we get rid of Domas yeah, he's not a true center, but then we don't have any big man
But
down
if we
low.
get Claxton back,
But,
that's more
like,
of a
that's where-
I mean, yeah.
defensive-minded big.
IJ.
Isaac Jones? Hey, let's play him
Let's
30
start
minutes
it.
a night.
Yeah, fuck it. But like,
not mad.
I still don't. I mean, we need someone. Nowadays, you need someone who's 7 foot.
So,
Jay
like, you
Crowder.
need someone close
Here-
to 7 foot in the league.
what
right
about
now.
this?
Nah, he's
If
gone.
he
We
gets
ended his
traded,
playoff streak.
if the Memphis idea, right?
Yeah.
Edie's the main guy you're getting from that. Okay, that's a center. I know
You
you,
get Bagley back.
Hey,
Sorry.
Marvin
Maybe
was
possibly.
hooping last night.
Sorry,
Marvin was
continue.
hooping.
for the point guard aspect, you get Scottie Pippen Jr.,
Okay.
get Gigi Jackson,
Okay.
Zach Edey. Those are your main pieces you're getting from there.
Get that for Domas.
And then
Say
you get a
less.
pick
I'm taking
in a
that.
second.
honestly, I'll take
I'm
it.
saying
Keep
yes.
Laravia, we're Memphis West.
I
Yeah.
think that condenses that is
Memphis is out west.
that's beneficial for both teams because
Kind of.
condenses
Northwest.
Memphis' roster issue where they have like 15 guys that can play.
Yeah.
True.
It gives other guys increased roles. They might need to sign a point guard, but that's not really a big deal for them.
Yeah.
I feel like, or they'll just give Yuki
We'll,
minutes.
we'll throw in
Hey.
Markel, bro.
Yeah, give him Mark.
And then you guys get a center, a point guard for the time being. I would not your point guard of the future, but Pippen Jr.'s solid.
He's solid.
And then Gigi Jackson the bucket. He just hasn't had a good role this year because of their roster construction.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd love to get Gigi Jackson, but yeah.
That's for Sabonis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
to Memphis.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know if they get. You'd probably take
I
some
don't wanna see
salary back
Domas
too.
leave.
Yeah.
I want to see Domas stay, man.
If we trade Domas,
Me
I'm
too.
scared to trade him to a team out west.
that's the
something,
case, yeah.
That's something we can't.
That's gonna hurt. Domas did say he would love to stay in SAC, and he's loved his time here, and he wants to be here. He also said after the game, just straight, bluntly said, "We need a point guard," and that's obvious. We've known that for a while, but
I think
yeah.
he talked about wanting to be part of the decision making too, because
he should be.
they asked
Should
him
be. He's the
about if
franchise
they
player. Yeah.
if they said he was going to fire him, or if they told them he was going to fire Monty or not, and he was just like, nope. And that's literally all he said. He answered that shit hella quick, and he was just like, later in the interview, he was like, I do want to be a part of more of the like decision making going
Yeah.
forward.
Why wouldn't he be already? I'm
Yeah.
just like, I don't
That's-
understand. It's such a players' league now. You have to
Yeah.
go to your top 3 guys on your team and be like, hey, how do you feel about this? How do you feel about that?
You don't know what the team like.
Yeah.
I'm interrupting you, but
No,
like
you
it's
gotta make sure they're on board with it.
It's so
Any
annoying.
move.
So annoying. Just like that's how the league functions now. You guys
And then
don't,
other players also see that too. When
Yeah.
when they're like, oh, what I want to go there, they kind of like no teams like look at the Mavericks. No player's gonna want to go there.
No.
because
Not
of
at
what
all.
they just how
Yeah.
badly they screwed over Luca. Like I'm grateful for it, but you know, no franchise player's gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna go there. You know, like
That's a great
of how
point.
long they respected Dirk, and then just to give up their franchise player for 7 years.
Yeah.
It's the same case if you know they
Yeah.
just blindsided Sabonis or something. It was like, oh, we're sending you to Brooklyn, and he's like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, then no one's going to come to SAC ever.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
exactly.
already hard enough
It's
to get
already
someone to come
tough.
to SAC. How do we feel about a Keegan Murray extension, though? He said he wants
Yeah.
to sign here. He wants to
100%.
get an extension this summer.
I want to keep him.
I don't know how much he's going to get paid, but it's probably going to be a lot.
So he's
Probably.
eligible for the max extension for a rookie or something.
Probably up there.
I don't know
Do
if
you
he
give
will
him
be.
the max though?
Man, I don't want to give him too much.
Because I
but
think
you gotta keep
30 30ish a year is fine for him. But if you can't give him close to 40,
30 mil a year for Keegan Murray.
I don't want to do that.
Sounds like
he's
a lot.
what 23, 24.
He's still so young.
And if you guys go rebuild, he's going to average more points this next year. Have a bigger
Yeah.
increased role.
You
He's
know
not
what-
going to play as much defense,
Yeah.
but his offensive production will skyrocket.
Keegan came out and said it's hard for him because he has to guard every position. He said he doesn't want to guard the centers.
Yeah.
And that's what he's doing. He's guarding the 5, he's guarding 1 through 5. And he's our only good defender.
He really thinks he's Dorian Finney-Smith.
Yeah. He's that type of player. But he could be a Tatum-esque type of player. I always remember Milo
similar
saying
body
that
type.
early in the year. Yeah.
Milo said that a couple times
Yeah.
on the podcast this year.
Yeah, and I was listening to the NBA Insider saying what the Kings need to do this offseason, and he brought up Keegan Murray and said it's tough when you get a top 4 pick in the draft that has so much potential and all this stuff, and then you make him an afterthought. You make him the 5th option every night on offense.
That's what the Bulls did with Patrick
And
Williams.
it's just, yeah, I mean, Patrick
now-
Williams kind of sucks, in my opinion.
He was solid his rookie year,
I don't
and
like
then
his
they
game
kind of
at all.
sucked. But everybody compared him to Kawhi.
I don't like Patrick Williams' game at all. I think Keegan is
Yeah,
way
no, now
above
he
that.
sucks
Yeah.
because I felt the confidence is
Yeah,
shot.
yeah. But I mean,
like,
Keegan's
with the
shown
Warriors, too.
potential. He's had games. Has Patrick Williams ever had a game of dropping? How many did he have in that Utah game a while ago? 45,
12 threes.
Yeah, 12
Yeah.
threes. It's like he has all the potential to be one of the guys on offense, and then you just make him an afterthought with DeMar and Zach on the floor, just sitting in the corner, not getting involved at all, and then hey, go guard the best guy every night. It's not that fun of a thing when you've got a top 4 pick with that much
I think
potential.
he was
His
better
career
with
high is
De'Aaron
35.
offensively.
35, and then his next is 25, so it was
Keegan?
really...
Or
No,
Pat
Pat
Williams?
Will.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, so, I mean, we're all on board to sign him, but it's going to be some moving parts before that, I think.
for sure.
Yeah. Malik also said he's ride or die with Sac. Love to hear that.
Yep.
He said, don't question my loyalty. I'm here. I'm riding or dying, so.
That'll be the most intriguing
Malik's
piece
my
for
favorite
teams, though.
player,
As a
man.
sixth man like that.
Fucks with Malik.
You like Malik? Favorite player?
The
Can't be mad at that.
only thing that I will scare you guys with is I think Keon Ellis might be trade value.
See, you say that, and he definitely has high value.
Dude.
We could get a lot back for him, but
It's just like
Scott Perry's that defensive-minded guy.
Yeah, I don't think
He's
don't
probably
going
to want to build with him.
then I don't know. Malik might be gone.
Yeah, I could
That's the
definitely
thing.
see Malik being gone before Keon. Even though Malik is way better, but the
That's
defense.
just the thing. We don't. And then if we keep Zach LaVine, which I don't think we will, we just have so many shooting guards that don't work well together.
What's Malik's role? What's his role? He's the best as a 6 man.
I think that's what they need to get him back to this year. So that's how they got to kind of build through. And I want to keep Malik as that. It's whatever he plays, besides the main point guard. I don't
Besides the main point guard, yeah.
But as a 6 man, I think for what do we have him for? Two more years under
good
contract.
4 years. Yeah.
Yeah, I would rather keep that. I mean, not saying I'd rather keep that than Keon, but I definitely want to keep Malik for sure. And he's just one of the guys that wants to be here. So I don't think that's something you would really want to do. If there's a few guys that want to be here and want to play here,
That's
so.
true.
Yeah.
I mean, we just talked about how hard it's going to be to get anyone to want to come to Sacramento. And Malik said he's ride or die with the city. But, I just have question marks about what his role would be. Starting him at the point, obviously shouldn't do that ever again. Starting him at the 2, I don't like either. Because, most of these teams out west are watching the playoffs. Most of their 2 guards are defensive guys.
Mm-hmm.
Someone that you can guard multiple positions. So that Keegan doesn't have to guard the best guy every night.
Well, I think when he was starting with Fox, I think that was kind of, besides the 6-man role where he was playing his best. I mean, he was averaging 21 and 6 through that period. But it's just like you said, it has to be paired with more defenders in the starting role if he's going to start. But that's why I like him coming off the bench, because I'm not worried mostly about his defense if he's coming off 6-man. I'm worried about what he's doing offensively.
Yeah, but if you're starting him, you've got to worry about the defense. And I think it worked with De'Aaron because, we all talk down on De'Aaron a little bit, but he can
when
play
he's not,
defense.
when he's turned up.
Yeah. He plays great defense most of the time. When he tries.
When he tries.
Yeah. Well, one more thing. LaRavia said he'd love to stay. I mean, kind of given the politically correct answer there.
Yeah.
I don't know what else he's supposed to say, but I really hope we keep him, man. He was fun to watch.
I think the cap's $5 million.
Yeah.
I think I heard Mo talking about that. Shout out Mo.
Situation with the Lakers when we had Malik.
Oh, you couldn't sign him to more than 5?
Yeah. And there was no way around it without hard capping us.
Yeah. Someone can go out there and offer him 6, and he's going to take it because it's 1 more mil. Why would you not?
Plus,
can't be mad
the
at him.
Kings situation.
Yeah.
I mean, he probably says that, but every player is going to say something like that. I feel like
He did say he loved how Doug, used him, and he played a ton of minutes.
He said
he got an
wants,
opportunity.
If Doug, well, he didn't say this exactly, but if Doug is going to stay the head coach, then he wants him to get the job.
Yeah.
If he's going to stay.
Yeah. So I mean that's a silver lining, I guess. Maybe we can keep him.
Hey, like I said it earlier this year too. Just get that man the best staff possible. You know. And I'm down to ride with that for a couple more
let him
years.
make his own staff first of all.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, let
work
him
with
get
Scott
that,
Perry and let him do that. Vivek, please stay away from that. Please.
Go home.
Go on vacation for 2 weeks, Zach. I promise you will be in the 6th seed. Well, anything else before I ask you guys what you think of these 3 players that are rumored to be in trade talks? Don't look. There's nothing else before?
I already know who you're going to
No, I don't.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it is up in the air. I've seen some Kings fans saying we should trade Domas for Zion Williamson.
I did see that. Yeah.
How do we feel?
I don't know.
I wouldn't be mad.
you'd have to give up more than just Sabonis, though.
Damn, really?
Sabonis and
Zion doesn't
probably
play.
Zion he's an all-star, though.
Think
He's
about how
he's a
so is
top.
Domas.
But
Well, dude, Domas would immediately get like 3 All-Star selections if he goes to New Orleans.
I mean,
yeah, because he would
No
be on a
matter
bad
what.
team.
Yeah.
And
Would they be a bad team? Because they have.
But
when you think about
the
Domas,
situation where they'd cram the
thing
is of him and Missy, they can't. Well, now they can shoot.
True.
And so then it'd be DeJounte Murray. He can't shoot either. Really.
Missy would be a big, good backup, I think. And if you have Domas starting at the 5 in New Orleans, they have the perfect, wings to play defense around
Murphy,
him.
Herb Jones, yeah.
They got the right personnel to have Sabonis as your center.
So we just send big men to New Orleans all the time.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Also, that brings up Jonas. I mean, we've got him under a couple more years.
Yeah.
He might be gone as well. I wouldn't be mad seeing him leave.
I think him and if Malik is gone, you package them together. That's a good aggregate of money to get you something.
That's true.
Solid in return.
So final takes: Zion to Sac. No.
Zion's a
I don't
star.
want Zion.
I would like Zion.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
it
don't
would be
want
cool
Zion.
to see him here, but I feel like that.
Dev, I know you're on board.
I'm down. The only
I'm down.
downside is we might have to. I mean, it's going to be what it is anyway, but they might go through a couple years of losing, especially if his health stays the way it's been.
Yeah.
But I mean, the potential,
That's
that ceiling rise.
It is.
The potential for Zion is a top 3-2 power forward in the league.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want Zion.
Where Sabonis
Like
is
6'5".
capped out 6'6".
6'6".
But he's like 280.
He's like 280. So I mean that changes
fast
things.
as shit for no
Yeah.
reason.
He is. I wouldn't be mad at it. How about LaMelo Ball?
Yes.
Yes.
I probably
Give
can't
me
for
LaMelo.
that.
Would we give up a first rounder?
Give up
for
the
him?
entire team.
I'm fine with that, dude.
But then that kills our whole. I mean, we did get our whole rebuild.
What rebuild?
If we get LaMelo and give up a few first rounders, that kills our whole, getting a good pick in the draft next year and all that.
I mean,
But we did get some good draft picks. I mean, not great draft picks, but decent first round picks for De'Aaron that could be moved that aren't our own picks, like Minnesota's pick and I think Phoenix pick.
Well, you do have a first this year, huh? You have Minnesota's.
Not this year.
Oh, it's next year.
it's just, if we can find the right trade for it that doesn't affect it too much, then I'm taking LaMelo.
LaMelo,
Yeah.
I'm down.
rocking with him. He don't run it though.
I don't run it.
He don't run it. I'd be down for LaMelo for sure. Trey Young. Trae Young's my number one.
I think I'd be more down for him than LaMelo.
Would we give
I
up?
think it'd be easier
Would we
too.
give up Domas and Malik and a first round pick? Why?
Yeah.
What's
all
holding us
three of
back?
them for
I'm doing it.
Trae Young
Trae Young's a superstar.
I'm doing it.
He's
That
been on a
changes the trajectory of this team.
The Hawks
Yeah.
suck.
and
Yeah.
a pick though.
And a pick.
I give him Levine and Domas.
I'd give him one of the picks that
Take it or leave it, bro.
That's way-
What's the
I
picks?
give him Domas and Malik, not a pick though.
I mean, if it's not our own pick, I wouldn't be mad at
You
it.
probably
Yeah.
can give one of those other picks that aren't actually first rounders.
Yeah.
That's the
And then
like,
throw in like
maybe a couple of
But-
second rounders.
Yeah.
something like
Also, I'm very hopeful. Watching the play-in, seeing the Hawks lose, all that. The Hawks have never got him another All-Star. But Trae Young tweeted out when Luka had his return game against the Mavericks, and he said he was never going to leave, and that's probably true. Luka was never going to leave Dallas, and then they trade him.
Yeah.
But I feel like Trae Young is the same way for Atlanta. I just
Yeah.
don't think. I think he's loyal to the soil there. I think they love him in Atlanta. He fits the culture. I don't think he's one of the guys that's going to request out, and then I don't think Atlanta would, go trade him for Domas and Malik. Probably not. Like that.
Yeah.
That wouldn't benefit them.
I feel like it's always the guys from
I don't- I
overseas.
mean-
Never mind, Trey's not overseas. I don't know what my point was here. Never mind.
Go on next topic.
Keep
I don't
Malik,
think.
bro.
I don't think
Domas.
Trey's definitely going to be there for his whole career.
No.
I don't know. That doesn't seem
That
like
would
his kind of
be
thing.
If it's up
His
to him,
entire career.
I think he would.
Unless they get him a star. But, I mean, they tried with Murray.
Yeah.
Technically,
He wasn't the right guy.
DeJounte Murray was an all-star in San
At the
Antonio.
time.
Yeah. And John Collins was rising and becoming better. But then he kind of just shit the bed.
Yeah.
Bro, we're cooked, man.
Yeah. We're cooked. Well, anything else on the Kings before we officially move on?
Go after Anthony Simons.
Yeah, Anthony Simons is the name you're
Simons
bringing
would
up.
be
The most
sick,
realistic, I feel like, and the Blazers have an issue with their guard play, and if you do, they're probably going to move Ayton, and I feel like their center rotation is kind of set, so if they get a guy like, you probably can throw in, how many years does LaVine have his contract? 3, 4?
Yeah.
3.
That's a lot. So you might have to do a 3-team deal.
Damn.
But Simons would be the best option, I feel like, and most realistic.
If we keep Malik, then no, that would be horrible because they're the same player. I mean, they're not the
I
same
think
player.
Simons is better, though.
Simons has more potential, obviously, and is more of a lead guard, but I just don't think it would work out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like his game.
Malik was scoring 30 in the playoffs, bro. 2 years ago, last time he played in the playoffs. I want to keep Malik.
He's a playoff riser.
I keep Malik over Domas, bro. Hot
Damn.
take.
I'm not mad at it.
I'm not mad at
I'm
that.
not mad at that at all. Yeah, well. Anything else on the Kings before we move on to the rest of the league?
Glad they're out of my life for 9 months.
Yeah.
Hey, it's shorter than that, man. We're going to be
Yeah.
Hey, this offseason, we're going to have a lot of Kings content, though.
Oh,
That's for sure.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff's going to be
Great.
going on. Great. I'm excited for a rebuild, though. I hope we go in that direction of, young, fun, exciting team. Look at the Pistons, man. I wish we were the Pistons right now.
Young, fun, exciting team. Damn.
I wish we were the Pistons.
Only like
2
3
years
years
ago.
ago.
They really were not 2-26 bad.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
They weren't.